G'day guys, this is Tier, and I'm a little bit sick at the moment. This is what my voice sounds like when I have the common cold. It's not COVID, don't want to hear any of that shit. Don't have COVID, I've just got the cold. Anyway, welcome back to another Fallout 76 guide. Today I'm going to be showing you all everything you need to know about the new weapon known as the Pepper Shaker, including where and how to get it, what perks work best with it, the base stats and damage output, what modifications you can utilize, and then finally, what legendary effects I would recommend for it. Let's get into it. Firstly, to put everyone's minds at ease, the Pepper Shaker and its plan can be traded amongst players, thankfully, so there is no limitation with this weapon, which is great to see. You can freely get this after the event has ended, and you can get it from your friends if they have already gotten the plan. Okay, next up, how do we get this weapon? Unfortunately, it is for the moment a limited time seasonal reward for the event known as Meat Week, so you may not get the chance to get one yourself by the time you're watching this video. Meat Week comes around about 3 times a year, sometimes more, depending on if Bethesda accidentally release a bad glitch with a new update. Anyway, first off, I'm assuming majority of you watching know all about Meat Week and how it functions. Short summary is basically, there will be a series of public events called Primal Cuts appearing on the map, where you will collect prime meat. You'll want to stock up on as much of these as you can to complete the main event a little bit easier. Next up is the main event itself. The public event called Graham's Meat Cook will activate every hour on the hour, and you'll just basically have to deposit the prime meat and do a few activities at the event like play music, deposit green beans and critter chunks, put out fires, clean up Brahmin feces, and so on. You'll want to do everything here to fill up the event bar so you complete Graham's Meat Cook on the highest tier. Completing the event on the highest tier will give you the greatest chance to get a rare reward, and subsequently will give you a far better chance at getting the Pepper Shaker weapon plan. And if you do complete this event with the highest tier, you will have a 6.25% chance to get your hands on this plan. So we know where to get it, but what exactly is the Pepper Shaker? Basically, it's a hybrid weapon. It's a mix between a heavy weapon and a shotgun. But basically, you can utilize all of the heavy gunner damage cards, all of the shotgunner damage cards. You can use Enforcer and One Gun Army to gain a ridiculously high chance to stagger and cripple enemies. You can have Lock and Load or Scattershot as well to reload slightly faster. And finally, you can use SKEET Shooter and Stabilized for far superior accuracy, as well as armor penetration with Stabilized. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Armor penetration. The Pepper Shaker is now officially the first and only shotgun that has the ability to utilize a perk that grants armor penetration. Now we just need Bethesda to allow all other shotguns to utilize some form of armor penetration perk. Anyway, the Pepper Shaker will have 60 damage at base value, which can be increased substantially with perk cards and legendary effects, as you can see here with everything said and done. With my perks on and with my bloodied Pepper Shaker, you can increase your damage to around 250, which is fantastic. Now it's also important to keep in mind that because this is a multi-projectile weapon, that means that the damage we see in the Pip-Boy will be evenly divided amongst the amount of projectiles the weapon fires. So this weapon fires 8 projectiles and does 60 damage, which means each projectile will do 7.5 damage. So make sure you hit all of your pellets on the target to deal the full damage. Now the Pepper Shaker utilizes shotgun shells as its default ammunition type, which is nice to see, and the fire rate is 41, which is kind of on the slower side. However, both the amount of pellets this gun fires, the fire rate, and the ammunition type can be increased with modifications, which I'll get into in a little bit. Basically, this is a badass weapon, and with the right setup, you'll be able to deal a lot of damage and provide fantastic utility options for players. Next, we will discuss modifications. Starting with the barrel, first we have the standard barrel, which has 4 barrels as you can see. This is the default and gives the stats you see here. And then we have the dual barrel, which will increase both the damage and the fire rate by a nice amount, increasing the damage from 60 to 66 and the fire rate from 41 to 61. It's pretty much just an overall upgrade from the standard barrel variant. Then next up we have the hex barrel, which will decrease your damage from 60 to 54 but increase your fire rate massively from 41 to 82, essentially doubling it. Obviously the dual barrel is geared for a more damage per shot type of playstyle, and the hex barrel is intended to give you a much higher overall DPS at the cost of your damage per shot. Now, all of the barrels I have mentioned will retain that shotgun feeling of the weapon and will make you fire 8 projectiles per shot. However, that does change here with the last modification. Finally, we have the single barrel, which doesn't change any of the stats of the weapon, but it does give the unique effect that makes you double the pellet count of your weapon, essentially making you shoot 16 pellets instead of 8. Now this is a double-edged sword for a few reasons. Yes, it's cool and mesmerizing because this is the weapon with the highest pellet count in the game, And if you use the utility perks like Enforcer and One Gun Army, yes, your chance to stagger and cripple goes up massively. But you've also got to remember that our damage is divided evenly by how many pellets we shoot. Essentially meaning the more pellets we shoot, the less damage we will deal overall, especially against heavily armored targets, so it's just important to keep that in mind, that with the single barrel modification, you're not going to be dealing that high of damage compared to the other options. Next we have the magazine. We have the default standard magazine, which lets you use shotgun shells, as you can see. And then we have two options that are pretty similar to each other. Firstly, we have the laser magazine, which will make you use fusion cells as ammunition, and will add 10 energy damage to our weapon. And as you can see, it will override our projectiles, making us shoot actual laser beams, which is really cool. Then next up we have the plasma magazine, which essentially does the exact same thing, except we will be using plasma cartridges as ammo. And we will be overriding our projectiles with plasma bolts instead of laser beams or shotgun shells. Both of these magazines deal the same amount of extra damage, so it just comes down to a preference thing. Do you enjoy looking at laser beams or plasma bolts more? Unfortunately, there is no reason to keep using the standard magazine, as it is outdamaged by the two other options we have, and sadly, there is no option to prime any of these ammo types we are presented with, which is a little bit of a letdown. Personally, I would have liked to have a reason to use the shotgun shell magazine as my main choice, but oh well. Next up we have the sights. There's not much to it here. We can either use nothing or we can use the gunner sight to slightly increase our accuracy. Now, as for getting these modifications, you can buy the mods for gold bullion at either Reginald in Vault 79, or Mortimer in Crater, or Samuel in Foundation. However, with Mortimer and Samuel, you will have to be at ally rank with them to get the plans, so just go to Reginald and avoid all that hassle. Which now brings me to the legendary effects. This weapon provides a great opportunity to be more of a support heavy gunner due to the high pellet count, which I'll get into soon. But basically there's two trains of thought you can take when picking your legendary effects for this weapon. Do I want to deal the most damage possible, or do I want to support myself and my team? No matter your choice, I have you covered. Obviously, once you do have your hands on this weapon, you can craft it and you can reroll its legendary effects continually until you get what you want. For the prefix, for damage, you'll want to aim for either the bloodied if you're low health, or aristocrats or anti-armor if you're full health. For the second star, you can aim for 25% faster fire rate, or 25% more damage while aiming. And for the third star, you can either aim for 15% faster reload or 90% reduced weight. Any combination here will treat you very well. Obviously, we're not going to be aiming for any VAT-centric legendary effects, as this is a heavy gun. It's not going to be in our best interest to be using this gun in VATs. However, when it comes to support, if you don't care about your damage output, you have a great opportunity here to slap on the single barrel mod, shoot 16 pellets per shot, and utilize either the Vampire's first star effect to heal yourself 32% of your health per shot, that is assuming of course all 16 pellets hit the target, or you can get your hands on a medic's version of this gun and heal your teammates with a massive, but costly, burst heal effect, healing you and your teammates' health by 80% every time you deal a critical strike, which is just insane. Now I'm going to be doing a separate video on that alone to make it more widespread knowledge, because I think that is a brilliant use for this weapon as a support character. And I don't think I have to explain how OP this can be in the hands of someone with the proper build. Also, I feel I have to mention here, no, unfortunately, you cannot get the explosive second star effect on the Pepper Shaker. That is not possible, sadly. So yes, this is the complete guide for the Pepper Shaker. Honestly, I consider this to be one of the few new weapons that could be considered top tier and worth utilizing, especially since it gives you more options than just dealing damage. I'm loving this gun so far, and I'm enjoying using it. I hope you guys are too. Also guys, be on the lookout for my build video, where I will be showing you guys how to maximize your damage with this weapon and what perks to actually pick to get the most bang for your buck. Anyways, that's it for the video. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, drop me a comment, and if you're new here and want to see more content like this, then make sure you're subscribed with post notifications turned on. A huge shout out to my channel members and Patreon supporters for making videos like this possible. Big thank you to the Distinction 4 and Dr. Drosso for being top donators on Patreon. You're all legends. As always, the links to my social media are in the description, along with the links to my Patreon and channel membership if you want to support me in a much larger way. It really helps out. And I've been Tia, and I've been sick. I'll catch us in the next one when I'm feeling a little bit better. Welcome to Valhalla.